everyone. Today we're going to be back in Phoenix Journal number 27, and we're going to be going over the 8th deadliest sin of the 12. And you'll have to bear with me, I've got a sinus infection going on right now. Fear. We have also spoken of the deadly sin of feeling unnatural and excessive fear in the previous pages under How to Recognize the Antichrist Within. We discussed that the Antichrist traps you in the illusion of what is future fear orientation. Let us define fear. 1. An agitated feeling aroused by awareness of danger, trouble, etc. 2. An uneasy feeling that something may happen contrary to one's desires. 3. A feeling of deep awe and dread. And for fun, let us define what is awe. Reverential fear, dread mingles with veneration, respect or deference. And now we will define deference, which is yielding to the will or opinions of another or respectful regard. By keeping you locked in constant agitation or uneasiness about what could happen, you are robbed of the present moment of life, which is the now of eternity. Generally speaking, one who is fearful of future possibilities or probabilities occupies much time in worry about possible consequences of a decision or an action, and will also often procrastinate or delay making the final choice. Let us define worry. Number 1. To be uneasy in the mind or fret. 2. To pull or tear at something with the teeth. 3. To cause to feel uneasy in the mind or trouble. 4. To bother or pester. 5. Worries. Something that causes anxiety. So many of you have expressed or heard the phrase, "I was worried sick." It is true that fear and its handmaiden, worry, can and will literally make you physically ill. Simply by imagining in your mind a picture, idea, or horrid consequence, you actually manifest the realness of that which you fear upon yourself. Whether the actual physical manifested outcome occurs according to your worst fears or not, you have suffered in your moments of fear and worry as though it had occurred. Do you see? You are creating the worst, even if it only be in your mind, through the emotional reaction of fear. Often the question is asked in earnest, well, if we are told, for example, that the probabilities are high that we could soon experience a devastating earthquake in San Francisco or Los Angeles, are we not feeding the negative probability by believing it and thus ensuring that it will occur? We will answer in twofold manner. First, you must recognize the facts of truth of your present circumstances, that the planet Mother Earth is a being who has been poisoned by you, her guardians. She will need to cleanse herself, so this means massive earth changes will occur as a part of the process of bringing to the surface the poisons of nuclear detonations, pesticides, etc., which have been festering within her. Also, you have the mighty powers of Russian cosmospheres, which unnaturally control the weather patterns, and which are unable to detonate bombs already in place along your fault lines. So, you have the agenda of your beloved planet, who wishes only to be cleansed, and the agenda of the Dark Brotherhood working through the elite few to control your planet, and that means to ultimately destroy much of the population in order to manage their domination more easily. Is information about lies, deception, and cover-ups perpetrated against you by these ones of the elite, which is coming forth through the journals, negative and therefore not worth your time to consider because you're fear-feeding the perhaps undesirable to you outcome of perceived negative probabilities? This material is information given in truth, be it perceived negative or positive in manifested reality. Unfortunately, most information presented so far is a result of God's promise to expose the Satans or adversaries who have managed by force and allowance to hold you hostage in illusion of separation against your Creator within you by deception of truth of your power of oneness. When it becomes negative upon self is when you are no longer ignorant of truth and you still do nothing to change your circumstances because you would instead rather hide behind your fear and self-perceived helplessness. Is it wrong to make plans for your future in your now? Not if it corresponds to the positive creative unfoldment of self-improvement and self-expansion of your knowledge and wisdom of truth in your now. You see, your desire to know and serve God will itself propel you ever forward in knowledge and wisdom of truth, and so, to your desire, will demand the discipline of self to remain focused on your goal. Let us define discipline. Number 1. Training of the mental, moral, and physical powers by instruction, control, and exercise. Number 2. The state or condition resulting from such training. 3. Punishment or corrective action for the sake of training. 4. A branch of knowledge. We would further add herein that there need not ever be punishment of self or another to achieve discipline. Simply integrity of focused attention in gaining wisdom of truth and recognizing and understanding consequences of thoughts and actions given in error are what are necessary to take corrective measures of action for successful training in godly truth to take place. This scribe has recently heard it said, in order to be a winner, given in reference to a karate competition, you must develop the 3 Ds: desire, devotion, and discipline. Well, we will ask you each to apply the beautiful simplicity of this statement to yourselves in your goal to overcome the false illusions of the Antichrist and become the winners of attaining your unlimited spiritual freedom by recognizing and reconnecting with the Father, Mother, Creator, creation within you. Remember, we discussed earlier how the Antichrist rules you by your desires, meaning for things or attachments of physical illusion. If your only true desire is to know and serve God Aton, then where does that leave the Antichrist? Out the door of your space on his behind. Remember this too, precious ones. When you truly ask the Father, Mother, God Aton, within you for truth, you receive truth. This does not mean you will necessarily like or enjoy what you find, but as long as you remain devoted to the discipline of emotional detachment, such as from feeling paralyzing fear, you will become empowered by the wisdom of the God/Goddess in you. And again, he doesn't have a gender, it's not that kind of... that is by man. Does this mean you will never feel fear again? Not necessarily, but you will, by your desire, devotion, and discipline, learn to overcome your fear and take the necessary actions to bring about godly changes, whether it be within self or in situations or experiences put before you. Here is another aspect of understanding fear which you must also recognize. You ones also can experience fear or alarm as a warning mechanism of clear or unclear present danger to you. Fear became the manifestation of your desire for survival on the physical plane. It was created by you because of the limitation brought about by your veil of forgetfulness about your soul immortality. And it was thus encouraged by the deceivers or Satans in order to terrorize, control, and enslave you through your fear of death and of the body. Actually, even those of you who now know your soul is immortal will still feel fear if you or your family is threatened in some way. You must overcome the fear by acknowledging the warning and seeking protection, counsel, and guidance with the Father within, so that you will be given instructions about how to best respond to the situation, whether it be defense of self and family or something other. Many ones simply fear physical pain and suffering more than death itself. So you must overcome the initial fear warning and gain the counsel within to act in order to protect yourself or others. It is only when you are overcome and paralyzed by your fear that you will not listen to your inner guidance and thus lose your power to change the outcome of the situation. So in summation, when we say you must conquer your fear, we are speaking of future fear, worry, orientation, and that fear which paralyzes you into inaction or feelings of helplessness. Remember, you are never helpless with God. You must learn to trust. You will always be given whatever you need in all circumstances put before you. When you sincerely ask the Father, Mother within, it is done. And that is the end of number 8.